Hey friends, I'm Jackie and welcome to my barn. Well, as promised, this is the first video in the series Owning a Family Milk Cow, and today we're going to talk about the top physical traits that you need to be looking for when you go looking for that first cow. One of the first things that you want to consider when you go looking for your first cow to purchase is that first impression. You want to look at her and you want to see if she is in proportion. Are her legs in proportion to her body and other points like that. And another thing that you want in a cow, because she is going to be bred and she's going to calve, is you do want some length of neck, not excessive, but you want some length of neck, but also you want some length to her body. So when you get a little length, you don't want too short of legs, too squatty of legs, and you want some depth here. This is where you want some depth. You don't want narrow in the body area and such as that. Some of the things that is telling you is, can she carry a calf and can she birth a calf without problems or with minimal problems? Now, Lily is pretty good in proportion, I think, to me, and I'm a little bit biased, but I like the way that she's put together, and that's one of the first things that I liked about her. When I first walked up on the farm and saw her standing out there, she just had a pleasant look about her. She didn't seem to be out of proportion. Lily is a Jersey, and she is considered a heritage Jersey, and she is more of the true size of the what I call vintage jerseys that were first brought over from England to America. You've got larger jerseys now, and you've also got mini jerseys. I think she's the perfect size. She fits me, and also milking size and height-wise, she's perfect. So that's another thing that you want to consider. Now, we're talking about a Jersey, but there are other breeds out there to consider. A Guernsey. A Guernsey's a little bit bigger cow, but she also has very good cream proportion to her milk, as the Jersey is the tops when it comes to that. But a Guernsey is pretty close, and then you've got a brown Swiss, that's a good sized cow. You've got Dexters, which are a multi-purpose, which means they can be for beef and for milking. They're a smaller cow, but a beefier looking cow. But we'll get into all of those kind of things later on. I'm chasing rabbits right now. But another thing you want to look for is you want to look for some depth, some width in the chest area so that she can take in that air and she can stay healthy. Now, speaking of that, a Jersey is a little more of a wedge-shaped cow. So they will tend to be a little bit more narrower on the front. But now we're going to start at her feet and we're going to work up. Now, one thing that you want to be mindful of, especially the back feet, is that they don't set down too much. Now, Lily needs her feet trimmed, so she's not perfectly correct right now. But what I'm speaking of is a physical fault that can't be corrected or trimmed out, okay? So when she is trimmed, she sets at a nice angle, not too steep and not too far back. The too far back is really, really a problem because you can run into foot rot and wear and tear on the back of their feet. Okay, so from her feet, we're going to work our way up. One thing that you want, right here is her hock, and you want a slight angle below the hock, just a little bit, not too much, and I'll explain why. Because if she is what we call post leg, straight up and down, that's going to bring her backside up, and it's going to cause a dip in her back, and it's going to be difficult for her to take in breeding. And a milk cow, that's very important because you need to be able to breed her to keep her in lactation. That's her purpose in life. So a post straight up and down is not good. That is a physical fault, and I would tend to steer away from that. But also too far forward, too much of an angle here going too far forward is also a fault because it's going to cause her rump to drop. And for the same reasons, for breeding reasons especially, that's not good. And it's also a weakness. Because a cow you need her strong. She's going to be carrying that calf, and you just need a strong back end on her. And if those legs run under, there's a weakness there, and you're going to have problems in the future. So what you want, what I like, something that's pleasing to my eye and something that's correct, is you want as level as possible across the back. You want this as level as possible as well. Once you've determined that you like what you see here, the next thing to consider is the width here. You want some width back here, and that just goes into ease of calving. And if you'll notice, I'm all over Lily. She does not mind this at all. She's not a kicker. She's very well behaved, and she actually thrives on human touch, mostly. She's bonded to me. The men of the family, she'll tolerate it, but she'll let you know. She'll swish her tail and step around and stuff. And she did step up, and I need to show her udder. So let me see if I can get her to move over just a little bit. Come on, girl. We need to show that pretty udder that you got. There you go. Good girl. So the next thing that we're going to take into consideration is udder placement. Now, for a family milk cow, there is a little bit of leeway here. If you find the perfect cow and her udder is pretty good as far as placement, if she's got a good personality, I would definitely say you could probably work around that. But now here's the couple of things that I would consider. You don't want a cow that has that her ligaments are stretched out, and you don't want her udder to hang past her hock. For milking reasons, for you, if you either milk by machine or by hand, either one of those is just not good. You want her udder to be above her hock, okay? And Lily's got a perfect little udder. Her ligaments are strong. When she's bagged up, we're about 3 hours from milking this evening, so she's got a good strong udder. Her lactation is down a little bit because of some health problems that she had, and I'll link to the video on that, and so you can go back and I explain kind of some of the stuff that she went through after her last calf. Now with Lily, I like where her udder is. Now actually I milk on this side over here on her right side. I've been told that that's the wrong side, but it doesn't matter. However she was trained, and she's very comfortable with me milking on the right side, and our stanchion is actually set up where I milk on the right side. So it's between you and your cow. But I like the placement of her udder. Her back quarters are a little bit further back than probably what would be ideal, but they are absolutely livable with. I don't have a problem. She's such a good cow, and she stands, usually when we milk, she will step back, and that opens up that area for me, and I don't have any problem milking. Now, if you're going to hand milk, you want to look for teat size. You want a longer teat. See, I'm on the wrong side. She doesn't like it. So you want a longer teat so that you can get your hands on there and really get that milking done. Now, if you're going to machine milk, you can get by with shorter. That's actually what they look for, or they're bred for machines, is they will breed for shorter teats. Okay, so let's just kind of do an overview, and we'll touch on some points. First of all was that first impression. When you walk up to the cow, what was your first impression? Does she look in proportion? Okay, and then I like to go from the ground up. Let's look at the angle of her feet. You don't want her set back too far, and you don't want her standing up real straight on those feet. Both of those are problems. You want just probably about a 45-degree angle, somewhere in that area. And also, we're going to look at some leg angles, okay? So from her hock down, we want just a slight angle. We don't want her to be post-legged, and we don't want her to be what's called sickle-hocked, where there's an extreme angle from the hock down. Just like I said before, post-leg is going to raise her back end up and hollow out her back. And if she's sickle-hocked, it's going to round her back, and her rear end is going to run under. Both of those make difficult breeding, so we want to level back, level all the way through, okay? Her udder placement, a little bit more forward than what Lily has got would be ideal, but it's not a problem for me, like I said, because she will step back and she allows me to milk. But just like you saw a while ago, she doesn't like me messing on the left side. She wants me milking on the right side. Okay, and another thing is, when you look at a Jersey, isn't it sweet? She's chewing her cud. A jersey, if you're looking for a jersey, you want a short head. They've got a nice size muzzle. Let's see if I can get her to turn and look. Can you look? Let's see. I don't know if I can be able to get her around. But also wide set eyes, large dark eyes. That is characteristic of a jersey, is the shorter muzzle and the wide set eyes. And I tell you what I love about her. If I could have eyeliner like she's got, because she's got those beautiful dark points around her eyes. Some of the things that I've heard negative about jerseys is that they can be flighty or nervous. I have not found that with Lily. She's very curious. Now, I don't know if that's misinterpreted as flighty or nervous, but she's very inquisitive. And I take that as a good trait. And she's just a good cow, so I was really blessed with her. But I do want to show you something. When you're talking about the physical traits of a cow, I didn't touch on this a while ago. You want to look at her fleshiness. Lily is a tad bit underweight. I would like to see a little more fat, just a layer of fat across here. Not much, but just a little bit more to fill out these hollow points, and maybe a small layer over her ribs. A dairy cow is a lean cow. They're not going to bulk up like a beef cow. There's the multi-purpose breeds or dual-purpose breeds like a Dexter. They're a little more beefier looking. But in general, your dairy cow is a lean cow. But now Lily needs a little more weight to me. Not much, but just a little bit. But when you walk up and you look at that cow, that's another thing to consider. Is she skinny? Now, lean and skinny are two different things. Is she too fat? If she's too fat, maybe she's too fat. Cow will not breed. They don't take as well. An extremely emaciated cow will not breed. They're just not healthy enough. So those are some other things to consider. Look at the gloss of her coat. Now this is Lily's winter coat, but she's still got a nice color, a nice sheen to it. The winter coat's not nearly as bright as a summer coat, but she's healthy. Other than I need to put a little weight on her, she is very healthy. She trots in to go into her stanchion. She's just full of life and energy. Well, I want to thank you for joining me in my barn today. I hope you enjoyed this video as much as I enjoyed making it. And if you want to see more and more of these type videos, and there's a whole bunch coming up, don't forget to hit subscribe and that notification bell. That's really important. And if this video was a blessing to you, hit that like button. And I encourage you to share this video with your friends on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. And I'll see you on the next video. Blessings from the barn.